First Acura press vehicle has landed on the channel, and it happens to be this 2024 TLX Type-S. And not only is it one of the best Acuras in the brand's history, I think it might be one of my favorite cars that I have driven this year. And this 2024 TLX Type-S does have some nice visual changes on the exterior. We have some new changes on the interior as well. But for around $58,000 as tested, which is just around $1,000 more than its starting price, you're getting so much car for your money that I don't understand why you would even overlook this thing when looking at a luxury sports sedan. So let's go dive in with my week on the Acura TLX Type-S and why I think it might be one of the hottest vehicles on sale right now. Under the hood of the 2024 Acura TLX Type-S is nothing that different. We have a pretty long hood here, which is thankfully supported by hydraulic struts here. And of course, we have that 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine mounted transversely up here, making 355 horsepower and around 354 pound-feet of torque. Now, this is routed through a high-performance 10-speed automatic transmission sent to all 4 wheels through Acura's fantastic super handling all-wheel drive system. It can send up to around 70% of this engine's power to the rear wheels, and when that 70% is at the rear wheels, super handling all-wheel drive can direct 100% of that 70% of the power to either of the rear wheels, which is so cool. Now, this vehicle does weigh over 4,000 pounds, and around 60% of that mass is located over the front axle. So there is a little bit more front bias in terms of weight, but it still has a really unique driving dynamics and proportions, especially with that double wishbone front suspension setup and retuned Sport Plus mode for this 2024 model year. One thing that I will note over the course of this week of testing is just how hot this engine bay gets. I honestly wish Acura even put some kind of vents on the sides of the vehicle or on the hood to kind of extract some more heat out of there, because I've noticed it does get a little bit toasty in here. Otherwise, no complaints with this powertrain. On the exterior of the 2024 Acura TLX Type-S, we have a new diamond pentagon grille design here, which changes up some stuff going on with this front radar sensor hidden behind the Acura badge here. If you remember before, it kind of expanded out into sort of this rectangle shape. Now it's all constrained within the Acura badge, and it actually has an improved radar angle to help your driver assistance systems improve even better. And I also like the kind of redesigned grille design with this frameless shape, which is a little bit more akin to the concept of the TLX a few years ago. Nonetheless, the front end is still pretty aggressive on the TLX Type-S. We have a very large opening down here for the radiators and intercoolers and stuff. Some nice cooling and vents on the side. We also have this really tasteful gloss black front splitter that goes around the entire front end. And of course, we have that really long hood of the TLX, which is of course a signature to its design staple. The TLX has to be one of the best looking luxury performance sedans on the market right now. It's distinctive, it's unique, and this new urban gray pearl paint finish for 2024 really both blends in with the crowd and stands out because it is a really gorgeous color on the TLX's body design. Also new for 2024 are some wheel options on the TLX Type-S. This is one new wheel option here. We have these 20-inch Berlina black wheels with these awesome red calipers here, and these are Brembo calipers, 4 pistons up front, which is great for stopping power. I have to say, these brakes are absolutely fantastic out on the road. Now, this one's wrapped in the all-season tire option from Pirelli, though there is a summer performance tire option that I believe you can get from Acura, as well as a more aggressive wheel, which is forged, and it will save you some weight. And it looks absolutely awesome in this kind of gold finish derived from the Acura NSX. Moving around to the rear end of the TLX Type-S for 2024, not much has actually changed here. Again, we see a really nice 20-inch black wheels, that nice sloping roofline, as well as this really large rear trunk-mounted spoiler, which is nicely finished in gloss black. Also in the rear of the TLX, we have this, again, signature LED taillights, as well as the absolutely massive quad exhaust tips on the TLX Type-S set. If they weren't on right now, I would be able to literally shove my entire fist in because they're that big. And they do sound pretty good on the exterior, though I do wish interior sound was a little bit more amped up back here. Now, opening up the rear tailgate, there's no power option here, but we do have a little bit of a button to open up that tailgate. It pops open for you, and I would say space back here is okay. Nothing too deep or nothing too wide or crazy. We do have some chassis bracing back here as well, which is gonna block some storage space if you do want to fold your seats down and shove things in a little bit. So that's one thing to note there. And there is no underfloor storage, nor is there a spare tire in the TLX Type-S. So if those things are concerning matters to you, you may need to look elsewhere, but overall, pretty good. Now, one of the most impressive things about the TLX, and this goes back to when it came out, not necessarily this facelift, is the design. It has a really nice long hood, a nice pushed back front A-pillar, that nice sloping rear roofline, that kind of unique sports car design that we're all familiar with. Though this was a large challenge, I believe, for Acura, as they do not have a rear-wheel drive architecture that is at their disposal. And typically, that's the architecture you kind of need for those classic rear-wheel drive style sports sedan proportions. Typically, front-wheel drive transverse-based platforms are a little bit shorter and stubbier on the front end. The wheels are usually further back. There's a little bit more front overhang. But Acura did not want this. And since they didn't really have a rear-wheel drive platform to their disposal, the designers and the engineering team decided to stretch out this front end as far as they possibly could to kind of give it that look. And they also pushed back this whole roofline as far back as they could with a sloping roofline. And it looks absolutely fantastic. Again, hands down, one of the best looking performance sedans on the market. Though there is an issue with this, and it all is in the rear seats. Now, to prove I'm not being crazy, I'm gonna adjust this front seat to where it's pretty comfortable for me as a front passenger. You know, it's getting a little tight right now on my legs right here. They're pretty close to this glove box, so I kind of want to move back just a little bit so I feel a little more comfortable. Okay, great, I can move all my adjustments, whatever. But what happens to the rear passengers when I, a 6 foot tall front passenger, adjust comfortably and not even really stretching out? Well, unfortunately, this is the result of all of that. Oh boy, it's really tiny back here. This all is going on with this design. The car is very long. It has those really nice proportions and great design, but the rear seat space, just in general, is very, very tiny for this vehicle. And I'm trying to sit comfortably here, and I can sit comfortably. My feet have some room. I have a good amount of knee room here. Not really any issues on the sides. Headroom is okay. If I go all the way back, it is touching the rear of the roof just a little bit. But my feet are cramped and my legs aren't super comfortable. And the second I close the door, that space gets a little bit more tighter as I'm kind of just speaking to you guys right now. And this all really comes into play when you realize that the Acura Integra, the smaller Civic-based Acura, has more rear legroom than the TLX. Now, the rear seats of the TLX are thankfully still nicely appointed place to be. I do like how Acura includes touch to lock and unlock the vehicle on all 4 door handles. Very nice, convenience and luxury feature. The door hits themselves open pretty wide, and the qualities of materials back here are quite good. The whole car is built very, very solidly. We have these nice metal speaker grills for our ELS Studio 3D audio system, which has, I think, around 17 speakers. Fantastic system, by the way. We do have some storage here for a water bottle, as well as this nice red leather here with this contrasting stitching. Really nice dynamic door design. The door opening sound is actually really solid as well. So let's hop inside now. Getting in's pretty easy, though, like I said before, a little bit of a tight space here. And here we are in the interior, or at least the rear of the Acura TLX. Now, new for 2024 are actually these additional USB-C ports back here, which is a nice modernizing touch. We have some climate vents as well, and the seats themselves are really, really comfortable. Nice thigh support. You have a good amount of backrest support. They're not very flat. They have a nice shape to them. I really like the dynamic shape as well, and materials from the leather that's perforated to this kind of microfiber, micro suede style material in the center. Really nice touch here. We can fold down the center console here for 2 cup holders, as well as a little storage cubby. And of course, the seats do fold down, though, like I said, that space is hampered by a chassis brace in between the trunk and this interior cabin. You can see we do have a pretty significant center hump here, so center passenger seating is not gonna be ideal, especially if you have more adults in here, because it's already a pretty tight space. And as you can see here, this is my comfortable seating position. I can't really sit behind myself. I would say I'm driving a little bit obnoxiously, but if a more reasonable sitting position, this is what it's going to look like back here. But it's still very much on the tighter end. We do have some LED lights up here if you do want to activate those, as well as these roof-mounted speakers as part of our ELS audio system. And we do have a little bit of a front sunroof here, though, again, no panoramic roof here, which I think is okay, because I think headroom would be compromised by that severely. But let's go hop up to the best place to be in the TLX, which is the driver's seat, and check out what's new on this interior for 2024. Now let's go hop into the front end of the TLX, where a lot of the real changes are happening here. And of course, same nice materials that we saw on the rear are found up front, except we have even more of this nice aluminum trim here. It's very BMW-esque in its design, which is not a bad thing. You can see there's an ambient lighting strip running across up here as well. And again, really nice sounds with the locks on this interior. I really like that. Again, more nice speaker grills for our ELS studio audio system. And up front, of course, we have a lot more customizable seats here. I believe there are 16-way adjustable seats here. We have adjustable side supports, we have thigh support, we have lumbar support, as well as a whole bunch of power adjustments as well for the passenger. So really nice luxury features there. We also have the Type-S logo embossed into the headrest here, which is nice to us, and a really nice, again, contrasting stitching and piping. We have a Type-S aluminum sill plates on the side, as well as Type-S floor mats and aluminum pedals. So a really gorgeous interior. And let's hop inside now. Nice solid door thunk. We have a little bit of a welcome animation on the screen here. And I have to say, the processor quality on these screens and displays is really top notch. Everything's very quick and responsive and instant. I really have no glitches or lags in here. I've not experienced that once. And let's turn it on. We have our stop start button right here. Nice, very nice design here. It's kind of pulsating. You can kind of see this right now. Pretty cool touch. And we can see that all new digital gauge cluster on the front end of this Acura TLX here. And that's really the highlight of this interior for the 2024 model year. And this is not a new digital gauge cluster. We did see this on the MDX before, but now it is here on the TLX. And again, really nice, gorgeous display. So how does it work? Well, you control really all of it from this panel right over here, and it's super easy to do, very quick and responsive. So we can see on our right hand side here, we have all of this customizable information we can cycle through. And I really love this super handling all-wheel drive screen, which shows you how the super handling all-wheel drive is distributing its power across all four wheels, which is really cool to see. G-force meter, attention level, seat belts, all that fun stuff. And we can also change the gauges to crafted mode as well. So this is a more traditional style view, or we can have that more aggressive style view of this advanced mode, which I actually quite prefer. And it does change per drive mode. So we're in comfort now. You can see this is what it looks like normal. We have sport here, as well as sport plus. So a few different views we can kind of see throughout the different drive modes. So that's a really fun feature. And that also changes with the other view as well. Now, other than that, there isn't that many major changes on this interior. We have the same really fantastic steering wheel. It almost fits like a glove here of how well it's sculpted to your hands. We have these very stubby little paddle shifters here, which do work very well. They are responsive, though I don't really use them that much because this transmission works fantastically in automatic mode. And I, again, really love this steering wheel shape and design. We have a flat bottom design here, Type-S badge. Again, controls are very easy to use. And what's really fantastic is Acura Watch, all of their safety systems are standard now. So we have a camera button here, which opens up our front view camera system here. So we can see this kind of 3D view. We also have a side view for our wheels, as well as even more views when you go into reverse and stuff. So really nice stuff there. We also have full radar adaptive cruise control. Our blind spot monitor cameras have been increased back for a better view in the rear. So we have this sensor right here to alert you in your blind spot, hidden right in this little panel here. We also have full steering and lane keep assist. So really a really great system, good visualizations of what's happening as well. Very high marks on this one. We also have a heads-up display. I believe it's standard now on the TLX Type-S, and it's very easy to control here with these physical buttons. I love physical buttons for heads-up display control, so you have to fiddle through all of your menus, tilt and brightness as well. Very easy to control. We can control what's on it as well through these systems. We also have a quick button here for our safety systems. So they'll bring up all the settings for our safety systems, which will be found right there. Very easy to navigate. We have a windshield wiper, de-icer, parking sensors, traction control, and as well as a master dimmer switch for the interior. So really nice layout of ergonomics for buttons in here. And I love, again, the steering wheel design's top notch. Of course, we have automatic wipers and headlights, auto high beams, as we should expect on a modern luxury vehicle. And then there's the rest of this interior design here, and not much has generally changed versus the 2023 and previous model years, though this screen is a little bit bigger than it was before. Though unfortunately, it is still not a touchscreen. You still are required to use this true touch interface that Acura has here, which I believe they're slowly phasing out because the new MDX facelift got rid of it. I don't think people like it too much. And I have to say, over my week of testing, it's a little bit confusing to use. It's not a trackpad like a mouse like those old Lexus systems, which were very unintuitive. This is intuitive in the sense that you do get used to it over time, but it's just not convenient, I think, to use in all cases. Specifically, right for this example here, it's true touch in the sense that this point corresponds to that left point, this point corresponds to the bottom point, and you kind of scroll around to kind of feel where they all are. There's no haptic feedback either, but it's not that difficult to use. It's not super sensitive, and it kind of tacks onto these different icons. So again, you do get used to it, but not the best system. It would be nice to have a touchscreen option here. And this is a split screen. So this right-hand screen is actually controlled by this little side interface here. So you just scroll through those little panels here, and those will always be there, which is a nice touch as well. I think it's nice to have that little split view, especially since this screen is just so big. I don't really have too much of an issue with it. We also have nice physical buttons for our home screen, and then what's going on in that card style area over there, and a back button as well. We also have a physical volume scroll wheel here, which is nice. This whole plastic panel here, thankfully, isn't hard, scratchy plastic. It's like this kind of softer touch plastic, but it doesn't feel super premium. At least it's not that. This is what I'm happy they didn't put over this entire interior. You also have this little bit of a armrest here, which is very well designed. The design of this interior is fantastic, but some of the ergonomic things I think could be improved. Specifically with the shifter here, you know, it works well. You do get used to it, but we could have a little bit of a knob or even a little bit of a normal shifter. I don't think that'd be too big of an issue. What I do love though is Acura's drive mode selector. This is my favorite drive mode selector. I love how they put it front and center. You really can control it, and it changes so much of the vehicle. I think it deserves its place. It's also illuminated and feels very nice to change. It also makes a very cool sound and animations when you're kind of cycling through the screens. You also have an individual mode when you press this button that you can configure through the infotainment system as well. So really love this. Climate controls, I'm happy that they kept physical climate controls, though they do look a little bit on the outdated side, not very luxurious for looking buttons. They do feel very fine with heated and ventilated seats, auto climate control, all that fun stuff. And of course, the dash design is very nice with this nice contrasting red stitching, and it really is a very premium looking interior. Just some things I think should be improved with time, hopefully in another update or the next generation of the TLX. I love this aluminum trim on the center console, very dynamic shapes, and of course you have ambient lighting running through the center console as well as the door panels to really give you this encapsulating cockpit style feel. We have auto dimming rear view mirrors with HomeLink integration, no digital camera mirror, which I really don't think is an issue because I think the rear glass is very big for your viewing. We have a sunglass holder up here as well as a manual shade for our tiny little sunroof up front, which is a nice touch. We also have a glove box here, which doesn't have a silly button to open it, and it's a decent amount in terms of storage, so I do like that as well. And again, that pretty much sums up this whole interior for 2024. A lot more features as standard. We have some improved screen technology, really great graphics resolution and speed of these performance of these screens. But you know, some things I think will be nice to see improved down the road. And let's get to this driving this fantastic TLX Type-S. So let's pop this 10-speed automatic gearbox into drive here. We have a sport mode for the transmission as well. It's a high-performancely tuned automatic gearbox from Acura. And let's put it back into normal mode for a second. Actually, you know what, even comfort, because there's a few things I want to demonstrate here. We have a really fantastically clear reverse camera system here, which we can change the view of from this little stalk here on our windshield wiper stock here, so that's great. And when you pop it into drive, you can also access that front camera from this panoramic view, so you don't damage your front splitter or damage or curb your wheels. So really nice views there when driving around. I really don't have any complaints for the TLX. It is such a wonderful car to drive, and the reason I think it's such a wonderful car to daily drive around is because of its ability to completely transform itself. Right now we're cruising around here in the softest setting. This is comfort mode right here, and well, it feels like a normal daily vehicle. The suspension and dampers are soft, steering is light but still very precise and direct, very nice balance and weight to it. But I feel like I'm in a regular TLX with the 4-cylinder engine, not this turbo V6, and in a good way. It's just very smooth. The accelerator pedal is nice and soft right now. this is the amazing part of the TLX. And now for 2024, they've retuned their dynamic modes for more uniqueness per mode. So now we're going to pop it over to normal mode. Here, that opens the exhaust a little bit. It gets a little bit louder. Things just feel a little bit more normal, but again, nothing too aggressive. Fine. Pop it into sport mode. Obviously, things are going to change out. The steering is going to step in, the suspension is going to step in. All of the vehicle is going to be a little bit more tuned for sporting driving. But the real highlight here for 2024 is the Sport Plus mode, which you have to turn, hold down. Now for 2024, that throttle is very, very, very responsive in Sport Plus mode. The steering is generally very, very fantastic. I really like this steering rack for 2024. They have changed it a little bit, I believe, in the Sport Plus mode. It's a little bit sharper, even more dynamic, and that double wishbone front suspension combined with the steering system is really fantastic. You get a nice amount of feedback through the wheel, and going through corners, especially in uphill scenarios, it's very, very fun with the super handling all-wheel drive system working. Now we see here we have these new configurable gauge cluster here, so we can change this gauge cluster by going to our gauge layout from crafted to advanced that we had in before. You can also change, of course, your speed. Oh wow, that is a lot of strong power. And you know, for around 355 horsepower, it feels plenty quick. You really don't feel like you're needing super loads of more power. It would be nice to have maybe around 400-ish horsepower, which I think this engine can do with not too many modifications. But as this car is, it's really fantastic. It's just straight out of the box, especially for the price point. Now in the Sport Plus mode, the suspension obviously is going to be a little bit more stiffer. Our exhaust is very loud, especially from the exterior, and those shifts are sharper. You're gonna hear a little more pops and some more crisper tunes coming from that gearbox, which I really like. And the braking performance from those front 4-piston Brembo calipers are just absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna let traffic ahead of me get a little bit closer, and I'm gonna show you guys the magic of super handling all-wheel drive and how it can turn you into a corner. Really sharp steering on the TLX Type-S, well-tuned suspension, it's not hopping all over the place. I'm really impressed with this vehicle so far. I've been having a great time with it over the past week. And the magic with super handling all-wheel drive is that it can distribute power not only front and rear, with 70% of that power going to the rear, it can do it side to side in the rear as well for torque vector. Now you do have to be on throttle to really feel this, but it works and it definitely pulls you into those corners. You can feel it now. It's spinning the outside wheels more than the inside. Oh my gosh, the grip is insane. Now on the proper summer tires here that you can get, it can pull almost a G, which is pretty impressive for a vehicle that's just not on like a aggressive rear-wheel drive architecture. It's a transverse front-wheel drive based platform, but the way Acura has tuned and developed this vehicle is definitely something only Honda's front-wheel drive transverse platform expertise can, I think, really pull off, because I cannot think of another vehicle like this in this category. We have everything in this class of vehicle, from the M340, the Genesis G70 with the twin turbo V6 rear-wheel drive architecture. We have the old Infiniti Q50 Red Sport. We have the C-Class. We have the A4. It's a crowded segment, but the TLX still stands out with its great looks, peppy engine, an incredible super handling all-wheel drive system. And this steering and front suspension really is even more of a standout, I think, in this class. Now out here on the highway, you can pop it back into comfort, normal mode, maybe keep it in sport mode. And this is what unlocks the other amazing side of the 2024 TLX, is its incredible amount of standard features we now have. So for 2024, Acura has made their entire Acura Watch safety system standard, and that is giving you a pretty wide breadth of systems that are typically expensive options on European competitors. And that includes all of your blind spots, your full radar cruise control, full steering assist. It has it all. It may not have lane change assist, which I personally think is a gimmicky feature, but the rest is all there, and I think that's what really matters the most. So out here on the highway, let's say you're cruising along, popping in the comfort mode, you want to save a little bit of fuel while you're not ripping it around some back road corners. All you do on your right-hand side of the steering wheel is pop on cruise control, set your speed, turn your lane centering and steering assist on, and there you have it. Now, it's not one of those systems where you can take your hands off the wheel, which I'm totally okay with in this particular case, because this is a car I want to have my hands on the wheel. I want to be driving it more. But in those scenarios where you don't want to be driving, you're stuck on the interstate in traffic, just like as we are right now, let the car kind of do a little bit of handling. Put your hand down here, make sure it's still on the wheel so it knows you're in control. Pay attention. And it kind of works fantastically. And this screen up here, this visualization, is one of the best I've actually seen. It actually detects motorcycles. So if a motorcycle is going to pull in front of you, it will show that it knows it's a motorcycle and not a car. So I believe it's going to be able to behave differently. It knows all the cars around you. It's even showing the difference between a truck and a car. And sure, it's just a visualization, but it just gives a little bit more of a reassurance that the car knows what it's seeing versus just showing like a box or something around you. Now, while we are here sitting in traffic, letting the full Acura watch system do its thing, we need to talk about this ELS studio audio system in this TLX, because I've been getting more and more into listening to car audio speakers. I'm definitely not an expert on audio systems. I'm not a full-on audiophile, but I do really appreciate a fantastic vehicle audio system, and this is, wow, this is really good. So there are speakers quite literally surrounding you at all times, so you can adjust pretty much all of those parameters, which I really like. You can also adjust obviously your auto zones from full vehicle, driver, front, rear. We also have adjustments for our speed compensation volume, which I'm not too big of a fan of, as well as this DTS neural sound surround option. So it's a simulated surround system, which is really interesting. And since it doesn't apply to all audio apps as well, I have it, I believe it's on right now. I haven't really noticed a difference, at least with using Apple Music and Spotify actually when turning it on and off, but it is there. I'm not sure what exactly is going to really trigger that to have a big difference in change in audio sound. I really hope you enjoyed that audio test here of this ELS Studio 3D audio system, because honestly, it's been really fun to listen to. I would say it's just below those higher tier audio systems from the Bowers and Wilkins, but it's really good. I wouldn't say better, but it's just around at that level, and that's fantastic at a vehicle that's like $20,000-$30,000 less than some of those vehicles with those higher end audio systems. Again, I'm going to reiterate, the amount of standard equipment you're getting on this TLX Type-S is mind-numbingly amazing. So look at that price point, look at the TLX if you're looking at a vehicle that is a sporty, luxury, compact sedan. This is definitely something to consider. And as always, thank you guys for joining me again on another video. I think this is another video where we're ending it in traffic and rain, but stay tuned for more coming in Allcarnews, and I hope you enjoyed the drive and review. Cheers.